Thanks very much for the intro. Hey everyone, I'm Mike. I am an AI researcher at the University of Malta. In my spare time, I make games and play with Garnet Games. And first of all, just thank you for letting me come here and being so welcoming. It's been so lovely so far. Malta is incredibly beautiful. Today, I'm going to convince you to ruin your entire global game jam experience by including procedural generation in it. But then at the end of the talk, I'm going to tell you how to put out all the fires that I started for you. So hopefully it'll be fun. Just to give you a little bit of background, in case you have no idea why anyone invited me here. In my day job, I do research into what's called automated game design. So I build systems that design games all on their own. So that's loads of different generative problem solving, like inventing rules, designing artwork, or finding artwork online, or appreciating someone else's artwork and including it in your game. And all kinds of stuff. This is the latest version of the software. So that's my research stuff. I also organize a game jam called the Prop Jam, or the Procedural Generation Jam. So this is in its fourth year just gone, and people get together and they spend a week making procedural things. They have a little bit more time than the Global Game Jam does, but they make some really wild and wonderful things, and there's a few inspirations that I've slotted into this talk as well. And I also used to enter game jams. These are some of my Blue and Dare entries. As you can see, art is not the strongest suit of mine, but the games were alright. I had a great time doing them. I entered some on itch.io as well, but I don't enter game jams that often these days, and that's because I started work on a fuller game. I made a game called the Cyberpunk Game Jam. I decided I wanted to finish it, so I've been developing it into a bigger game called Rogue Process, which I mentioned briefly also later in the talk. So that's what I do, but today I want to talk to you about procedural generation specifically. And procedural generation is a term that we throw around a lot, and maybe not everyone knows for sure what it means or what relation it has to other generative stuff they might know about. All a procedural generator is, I would say, is a bit of code that makes something in your game. It could be anything. It could be a dungeon, but it could also be a story or a piece of music, or an outfit. There's all kinds of stuff that procedural generation can do. And the reason why I included this is because the term procedural generation gets thrown around a lot, and it's always in the context of games. But actually, generating stuff is way beyond games. People generate stuff in parts. They generate stuff when they play physical games with pen and paper when they're kids. And it's not really about code. And so I know that you're going to assemble into teams with a global game jam, and some of you will have roles. And there's no one role that encapsulates generating stuff. Anyone can get involved in it. It's like its own skill tree with its own techniques and its own philosophy and its own ideas. And today's talk is not on the expert end of procedural generation. It's more about convincing you that generation can be used for anything, and anyone can take part in it, and then hopefully encouraging you to sort of play around with it and get messy over the next couple of days. When we think about procedural generators, there's lots of different kinds, and there's lots of different things they can do. Some generators do very little in a game. They kind of just add a flourish at the end, or a little cherry on top of the cake that's already basically been made. And maybe they just randomize or mix up a little bit of things, or they decorate images or something. By contrast, other generators make loads of decisions. So a generator in a game like No Man's Sky, procedural generation is responsible for the planets that everyone lands on across the whole universe, the colors, the shapes, the resources, the creatures, the plants. So in terms of sort of design decisions or decisions about what the player experiences, No Man's Sky, their generator has a lot of responsibility. Now the thing is, the way that humans work is we are drawn to stories of scale and splendor and complexity. So the procedural generators that you hear lots about are the complicated ones, normally. So things like Dwarf Fortresses generator for world histories and atlases and stuff. And I love those stories too, they're really exciting. But it can put people off, I think. It can kind of make them a little bit worried and maybe think that procedural generation has to be really complicated all the time. But it doesn't. Generating things can be simple and elegant and fun, and you can sort of brute force your way to generate anything. If you try hard enough, it will be broken and a bit messy, but that's okay, and that's what game jams are for. And the other thing is that you sometimes might think that procedural generation takes a long time, but actually you can kind of blast through it even in like an hour or two, as long as you take the right approach. And so even though you don't have much time and it can suck to think like I'm going to dedicate 2 hours to this thing I've never done before and I don't know whether it'll work or not. It is okay, and I promise you it won't completely ruin your weekend. So before I make a pitch for how you can get into generating anything quickly and messily, I just wanted to show you a couple of examples from PropGen to show you things that people generate to try and maybe break the stereotype that it has to be like dungeons in a roguelike game. So Kid Cosmic generated color schemes. So they had a puzzle game that used color in the way it solved puzzles, but also you could change the color scheme of the entire game. So they had this really awesome graphic design vibe, and they used color theory to construct color schemes that obeyed nice rules and looked pretty. Random access character was made in the most recent drop-down. So the way this worked was there were some procedurally generated animations, and then onto that skeleton, it pulled a bunch of random 3D models, and it would just plot them on the skeleton. So this person here is made of stools and a couple of ottomans, I think. This thing here is made of cushions, and I don't know what they are. And they look amazing. This thing in the middle looks so happy with itself. It's really wonderful. And I don't know what purpose this has in a game, but it is amazing. And it's fun and it's unusual. Chaos Switch was another one from this year, and it generated rules. So as you could see a battle playing out between two teams, and you had rules on these cards. And when you clicked on one of the cards, it would apply the rules of the battlefield. And so the player's job was to balance the battlefield in one way or the other, or make one team win. And generating rules is not something you see in games very often. I think it's super interesting, and it's got so much potential. And last one is kind of a self-plug. I actually worked on this one, but Marsh Davies came to me with this idea for a game that had procedurally generated dialogue game. So we wrote the system that lets us construct dialogue based on things that have happened in the game so far. And that was kind of cool. So you can procedurally generate a lot of different things. But game jams are difficult. You're under a lot of pressure. And the thing with game jams, or the thing that I found, I mostly entered them on my own, so it's a little bit different when you're in a team. But the thing that I found was that you kind of always have to be moving forwards. So when you write a line of code, you look at it and you think, I'm never going to get to go back to this line of code. This is it. It's like you might as well be carving it into stone on your monitor. And that means that, and this next slide is actually, even if you're not using procedural generation, this slide is like game jams, in my opinion. Whatever you do, you should try and make it additive. And what I mean by that is, if you decide to extend this thing you've built, there's no point at which it becomes broken again after it works. So once you build your generator in 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours, if you decide to add more things to your generator later, you don't want it to break. You don't want the game to go back to a broken state at any point. And that's true for your game design, for any part of your game, really. And so complex procedural generators, like simulation-based world history stuff, that can be dangerous, because you might halfway through another feature, and then the game jam ends, and now the whole thing is broken. So the thing I want to explain to you today is what I would call an additive technique, in that it's quite simple to get running, and it's very simple to extend. And you may have heard of it before, but if it is, hopefully we'll still give you a bit of flavor on top that will make it interesting. But it's this thing called a replacement grammar, which maybe sounds fancy, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. Basically, it's a template that you put stuff into. But, words are technical terms and academics use them all of that. So the way that these replacement grammars work is that you have a template for things, and then you find things that you can vary inside this template. So if you want to generate dialogue for our game, and we have an example of a kind of dialogue line you might like to write. So it was a dark and stormy night, it's a classic line, but maybe we want to vary it in some way. And it doesn't have to be dialogue, it can be all kinds of stuff. Maybe you're generating character outfits, so you Google for some pictures of characters, or maybe you draw a couple of concepts of your own, and you think, like, what things in this could I vary? I could switch out the helmet for a top hat or a bowler, or I could switch out these adjectives for other words to create other atmospheres. I don't know anything about music, so all of my music examples in this presentation are just, you can just picture me shrugging my shoulders next to them. But this thing here could probably be swapped out for something else. It's just notes. So the idea is that you've identified something which could be something else without breaking the rest of the template, right? So the word dark could be a different word. So there's like a gap here that you can put things into. And what we do is we put what we call symbols in the place. So I replaced dark and stormy with a symbol that says adjective. And all it says is that when your generator is going through this sentence, so your procedural generator is going to get here, and it's going to realize this is not part of the template, this is a symbol. And it's going to go and look for a list of things under the same symbol. So I put dark and stormy back here, but I've also put foggy as an option, rainy as an option, wet, cold, calm. And any of these could go in this slot here. It would change the sentence, but anything could be put in there. So our grammar system might choose dark, and then it goes along the sentence and it finds another symbol and it replaces it with stormy. And I'm deliberately avoiding describing how code would do this, because you can all get together, and if you've never coded before, I'm sure you'll be with someone who has, or you can find tools online, or you can talk to me, I'll be all the time. But I just wanted to get the basic idea of there's a gap, and something goes in the gap. So it could be dark and stormy, but it could also be a wet and foggy night, or it could be a cold and calm night. And part of the art of producing a generator is thinking, what have I written here? Like, these aren't random words, because cold and calm is very different from dark and stormy, right? So it's part of, it's like, this is a creative decision. It feels like you're having less creativity because you're leaving it up to randomness, but actually, this bag of words is a creative decision that you make. So when you see replacement grammars, if you've seen them before, maybe you've seen Twitter bots, if you're into the same sorts of things I am, you've probably seen it based on text. But grammars can be used for anything. All that matters is when your computer program goes over the template, what the computer decides to do with it is up to you. So instead of words, our grammar could be references to pictures that you've drawn. So a person is a head, a body, and some legs. And when your grammar goes and replaces head with top hat, it searches through for the image of a top hat that you drew, and it pastes that wherever it thinks the head should go, wherever you told it. And then the exact premise is exactly the same. You can draw more images, more parts of bodies, you can put more bodies into the grammar, and the grammar can keep generating stuff. And if I knew anything about music, there would be this slide would have like stuff on it, but songs have an introduction, and there's a thing called a bridge, which I don't really know what it is, but I've definitely seen it. And this doesn't have to be, these are very basic. You could have specialisms here, so it could be a happy verse or a sad verse, and then you could have different templates for different fields of song, right? This is very, very simple, but it's very, very effective, and it works in lots of different cases, lots of different scenarios. They can be entire segments of Mario levels that are glued together in different orders. And you can even have these templates, have many, many different templates for different types of difficulty and different flavors of level and all of that. The reason why I think grammars are so good, especially when you're on a time limit, is that they're very easy to make bigger. They're very easy to add stuff to. And adding stuff to a generator adds lots of value. This is a screenshot from Procedural, the game I'm making. And the game is set in a sort of futuristic world where there are a large number of corporations, and we procedurally generate them to give flavor to the game. And whenever I'm feeling too tired to work on the game, which is always, or if I've got like a coffee break and I've got 5 minutes and I don't really want to open up Unity, what I'll do is I'll open up the grammar for the corporation. I'll just add a line or two. There's a spelling mistake in this screenshot. I can't really lock that in. But I'll just add like a location or a buzzword for a branch of technology or a reference to some Greek god that I forgot to add to the list or something. And this is really great for a jam scenario, because if your grammar exists somewhere outside of the code, when your artist is like having a slice of pizza and they need to just relax for a bit, they could add a few words in, or if you just can't fix this bug, you can just go away for 20 minutes and add a few more pictures into your output generator. And all the time you're expanding this generator, you're adding to it without breaking it, and each extension makes huge numbers of extra combinations possible. I want to take a brief detour to talk about a game that I think it's not a grammar, but you can think about it as one, which is Spelunky. So I don't know how many of you know Spelunky. I know it's fairly well known, but I'm always tripped up by that. But Spelunky is basically one of the best procedural generators ever, and it's also simple. It doesn't need to be complex, because it knows exactly what it needs to do, and it does it. So it's a platform game, and each level you start on the top of the screen, and you have to get to an exit, wherever that is at the bottom. And the way the levels are designed is there are tiles, there's a 4x4 grid of tiles that Derek Yu has designed by hand, and they are arranged by the software to create a larger level. So Derek makes loads of these small kind of mini platform chunks. And Derek is a great level designer, so there's loads of his creativity and knowledge inside this space. But the generator doesn't need to know any of that. Just like our grammars don't need to know anything about music, they don't need to know anything about art or literature or anything. All they need to know is how to connect things up, what the template looks like, what this is. So the labels that Derek used for his generator were the directions you can exit each bit from. So this one you can do it like this, by the way. It's not really a grammar in the way I'm describing, but you can exit this one from the left or the right, or you can go down. And that's all Spelunky needs to know about this section of the game level. So when you're thinking about how to break up a piece of music, obviously it's oversimplifying it, but you could just tell it, is this a fast piece of music or a slow piece of music? Is this a happy piece of music or a sad piece of music? You can think that that's simplifying the way your generator handles this information. What Spelunky goes on to do is it creates a little path from wherever it thinks the start should be to the exit. And then for each tile in the map, all it needs to know is the directions that the player needs to lead from. And then it can use the labels that Derek added to connect things together, to plug stuff together. It's not exactly the same as our grammar, it has a lot in common with it. So you can make a world-class procedural generator with basically a template of stuff, a big bag of things that you've made, and a little bit of extra information to help the computer reason. You don't have to teach the computer about your enemies, your physics system, you don't have to teach it about Indiana Jones, you don't have to explain to it what a cave is. You just need to give it one or two pieces of information, and the connection rules will do the rest. So that was an attempt to pitch that generators can be used in a game jam, they can be used quickly, and you can still get something out of them. What I want to do now is give you hints for when things go wrong or things to watch out for. And these apply even if you're a veteran procedural generation developer and you know about grammars, but you're going to use something else, don't worry about it. The number one tip is always have an escape route. So things will go wrong. Your procedural generator will fail. Spelunky actually has a feature where it will generate dead ends. This isn't a screenshot of dead end because I couldn't find one, but it's illustrative of what a dead end looks like. But it's possible for Spelunky to generate a pit that you can fall into and not get out of. And when Derek Yu was developing the game, he said he didn't want to spend ages tweaking the algorithm so that it didn't have these dead ends, or so it understood how high the player could jump, or any of that. So instead, he took a different route. Instead of trying to avoid the mistakes, he gave the player the ability to deal with mistakes. So he gave the player bombs, which destroy sections of walls, and ropes, which allow the player to climb up back past where they came from. And the reason why this is so clever is this actually opens up whole new sections of gameplay. So instead of removing the failures, which would have kind of had the same effect, but it would have made the game much duller, whereas instead he's used the weirdness of his generator and made it part of the texture of the game. So if you're going to use procedural generation on stuff that's mission critical, around halfway through the jam, ask yourself, what is the worst possible situation my generator could put the player in? And then think about what you could give the player to get themselves out of it. And in Spelunky, it's a limited resource, so it becomes part of the player's strategy, and the player feels bad if they run out of this resource. It was all their fault. It wasn't really. Sometimes. So that's the first thing. So the second thing is an interesting thing I've noticed almost every developer do when they make a procedural generator. So they make their new procedural generator. This is a Twitter bot called, I should have written it down. It's something mountains. I'll tweet it out later. And they'll start posting pictures of their generator to Twitter, and they'll start talking about how great it is, how fun it is to tweak the parameters and make new things. And then they'll put their generator in their game, and it'll be used like once every 10 minutes or something. And what they don't realize is that if they're having fun playing with the generator, then they can give that to the player. You can give the player control over the generator. It doesn't have to be total, it can be partial. But building control into your game is really fun. So this can be just a direct way where they can just regenerate something, for instance. So if you're generating music for your game, just give the player an option to create a new soundtrack whenever they want to. And normally you might worry that they would exhaust their supply, they'll start to notice repetitions and stuff like that, but don't worry about that. This is a game jam game, it will be short, it will be sweet, people are expecting like a short experience. If you've made an awesome music generator, let them experience the same fun that you had, let them press regenerate all the time. Or maybe just a way to let them customize some elements. So if you're generating outfits for them, let them throw away one piece of the outfit and recycle it and get a new one, so they can slowly build up something that they have partial control over. Or, if you want to get really adventurous, just give them control over the whole generator. So, back in 2015, I made a game called Play for the AI Jam, and it generated this brown thing, which is supposed to be an asteroid, using something called cellular automata. And cellular automata have a few variables, a few numbers that control the algorithm. And I just gave the player control of those numbers as part of the game. And so they could increase the amount of erosion, and that would get rid of small segments of rock. Or they could undo that and put the rock back. And the idea was that they were terraforming the asteroid or the planet or whatever. The plot was very bad, and the game was made in a day. But controlling the algorithm was super fun. And they would carve routes through the asteroid to reach their objective, and then fill them back up again when they needed platforms to jump back up to the top of the asteroid. Because the asteroid had gravity for some reason, it really didn't make much sense. But it was really fun, and people like controlling them. And it's not a technique you see in many games. So think about giving the player a procedural generator as a game mechanic, because that could be something cool that you could do meaningfully in the next 2 days. My first rule was about if your procedural generator makes critical content. If it doesn't make critical content, consider just letting it get really weird. When you're putting in limits to your procedural generator, if you're putting in this value should be between 0 and 4, or it shouldn't go, this thing should never happen. We'll put a rule in here that says this never happens. Just ask yourself why you're doing this. Try doubling every number in your procedural generator and seeing what happens. Because if it's non-critical, you might get some really weird outputs. This is a thing I made for Procjam last year. This is just illustrative. But I've been doing this with road process and allowing procedurally generated robots to just pull random behaviors out of other AIs. And you create weird emergent things once you take the reins off of it. So consider just removing your limits for an hour and playing the game and seeing if it actually is broken and if the limits actually need to be there. Because sometimes you kind of trick yourself into being too constrained. What happens if it starts to break? I've lost track of time, by the way, but I'm assuming it's okay. No one's pulling me off. So, one of the things we don't do very often when we're building generators is testing. A lot of the time we'll sit there and we'll eyeball the generator. We'll kind of regenerate a couple of things and see if it looks right, and that's how we debug them. So remember that you can write tests. I never write tests to anything, but I do occasionally test my procedural generators. So if you know something bad might be happening, or you want to test how frequent something is, just generate 1,000 things, see how often it happens, and get the code to tell you. It's always better than trying to do it by eye, which is what I see most developers do. But occasionally you get really, really broken. And what do you do then? So you're 2 hours away from the game jam, and 50% of the time your procedural generator is unwinnable. It makes the game unwinnable. What I'm going to tell you now is a really dirty, horrible secret that not many people like to use for procedural generators, but it's going to fix your game jam and solve all of your problems. And I want to say one word to you, just one word, and that is filters. So when we think about procedural generators, we think that when we press generate, it should produce the thing that we want every single time. That's our idea. When I press new world in Minecraft, I get a Minecraft world. But that's just what the player sees. Behind the scenes, you can do whatever you want. So if you know what you want or what you don't want, but you can't think of a way to make the generator express this, if you can't find a way of getting what you want inside the code of your generator, then just keep generating things until you get it. Because the chances are your generator will be fast enough that you can generate and throw away 99 things, and the 100th can be the one you show to the player. Now, if you've made some hideous monolithic generator, or the rest of your game is really, power hungry, that might not work. But most of the time, it absolutely will. So don't sit there pulling your hair out trying to figure out the bug in your generator. Just throw away the trash, and when you get the good one, show the player that. It will save you so much time. I wanted to get across today that procedural generation is amazing because I love it. I use it in everything. I think it's the answer to all of life's problems. And most importantly, like I was saying this like 5 years ago, and it's still true. We haven't tried half of the stuff that we could try in procedural generation. Every year in drop down, I see people do things and I say, I've never seen that before. I've never seen someone try and generate that before. There is so much uncharted territory out there. And if you're the first person to try something, it doesn't matter how bad it is. People will be impressed. So don't worry. Like, don't be afraid. And you can go out there and pick something and say, let's see if our game can generate control schemes. And it will be broken because no one will know the controls every time they play the game. But maybe it'll be amazing. Maybe it'll be something new that no one's seen before. So don't try too hard to, make something that like what I noticed in Ludendale Dare was after a while people kind of knew how to win Ludendale Dare. They would make games that they thought would make them win. Just don't worry about that this weekend. Do it for me as a favour. Just throw everything out and make something so horrible and weird, and I'll be very proud. And if you want to tell me so I can be proud of you, I'm on Twitter at MTRC, and these are the projects that I mentioned earlier if you want to catch up on them. Thanks for talking. I hope that some of it was useful, and that's all about.